Hello, 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 and welcome to the Maxine Pearl Phillips Show. I'm your show host, Maxine. I cannot wait for you to meet my guest tonight. But as you know, we always talk about level less. It's about removing those levels, is about understanding your worth, is about knowing how to advocate for yourself so that you can continue to succeed on your terms. That's what level is. Remove those levels. Stop competing with yourself, and it keeps you from competing with others and continue to succeed. Well, tonight our show is no different. You know, I have special guests who's going to be dropping those platinum nuggets. So get ready, grab your pen, your paper, and I also want you to contact others. Let me know where you're chiming in from. Put your name, at least your state or a city. Let me know where you're viewing us from. It's always helpful for us to know. But let's get started with my first guest. Valanda Calloway. Oh, I know you've heard that name before. I cannot wait to hear these nuggets that she's going to be dropping. She's going to be talking about presenting yourself. She's going to be talking about how do you show up in person, on TV, no matter where you are, no matter who you meet. But do you recall her being on My Carolina? Oh, that's where I remember seeing her. And I used to say, oh, I want to be just like her because of the way she handled herself on TV and the way she spoke. So tonight we get a chance to hear from Valanda Calloway, the TV lady. So let's bring her on. Come on down. There
Hello.
she is. Come on, everybody, give her a hand. All right.
Hello, Maxine. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for that really, really sweet introduction.
My pleasure. It's so great to have you here, as they say, and in person. So since tonight is this my show is all about life strategies, then you know I want to know. It's like girl talk right now, okay? We having some girl talk. I want to know. Tell me, I know you're from My Carolina, but I know there's some stumbling blocks that you had to cross over. I know there was some hills that you had to climb, and I know there was some strategies that you had to put in place. So share with us, how did you get started?
I got started by simply being curious. I knew I wanted to work in the TV news industry from the time I was about 5 or 6 years old. I come from a very traditional family where my dad went to work and my mom was a homemaker for a number of years. And so she would make dinner, we would have dinner, and then afterwards we'd watch the news. And I became obsessed with watching the news. I was more interested in watching the news than going outside to play. And
Oh,
so I am the oldest of three. So I'm about
okay.
4 years older than my sister, about 5 years older than my brother. So it was just me for a bit, for several years. And so I'd stick close to my parents and I watched the news and I wanted to be just like those people I saw on my TV screen growing up in the 70s. And so that's how I got started. I was really curious and I asked questions. And as I went through school, I made sure I did the things that would help me get to where I wanted to be. In high school, I wrote for the student paper. When I got to college, I wrote for the yearbook staff. Then I became a member of the news team at the student radio station. I did the news in the morning and I got internships and all the things that you do when you want to work in the news business.
Well, see, what you just shared with me is the fact that here you are, 5 years old, and you already knew what you wanted to do when you grew up because you watched it on TV. You saw
If you
someone
see it,
doing
you
what
can
you
be it,
love
right?
to do. Yes, I think that's awesome because not too many 5-year-olds will follow through. Now, right? Now, come on now, think about some of those. They let those 5-year-old dreams drop because life
Mhm.
got in the way, but you did not
Yeah.
allow life to get in the way. So that's, to me, that's a huge accomplishment right there in itself.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. And then the fact that you loved it. Hello. That's what we teach. That's what you're going to be talking about when in presentation. That's why you're doing what you're doing,
Hmm.
in your TV, the TV lady. It's because you love
Yeah,
what you do. And that's where I come in. I help people like, you're supposed to love what you do. You're not supposed to just go to
absolutely.
work for the sake of working.
Hmm.
I love it.
Absolutely. I could not agree more.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so internships, and I'm sure you had a mentor. I'm sure you had a
Hmm.
supporter. I'm sure you had a
Hmm.
coach. So tell us what strategy that one of those individuals, and if you can share who their name is, that would be great. But if not, we respect that. But what strategy that they share with you that has made the most significant impact in your life?
Oh my gosh. I I would be so afraid to start naming people because I have had so many. I
That's
haven't
good.
achieved anything alone, not a single thing. I've always had a squad of people pushing me along, everyone from my parents to family members. My family is amazing. I come from a huge family, so I have lots of aunts and uncles, lots of cousins. And so I've always had support. I'm very blessed in that way. These people help me get scholarship money. They help me, you need to talk to so and so, or you need to do this, you need to do that. So I've always been blessed to have people to support me. And so this has been my entire life, even now. I still seek mentorship. But things that have been consistent that I've heard from lots of people is that you always need someone. You don't get anywhere in this life by yourself. Every
Oh,
single job, everything started with an introduction. Someone saying, "Hey, Valanda, you should talk to so and so." Or someone saying, "Oh, I heard about you from somebody else." Now, of course, when you get there, you have to show and prove. But every single thing I've done has come from someone opening a door at every stage of my life. And I'm so thankful for that. And
I
so I
love it.
encourage people to surround yourself. And I can't take credit for this phrase. I heard it from somebody else who I can't remember who said this. But anyway, it was an adult who said he has a board of directors, a personal board of directors. And I like that. So that's what I consider my squad, my personal board of directors. I have people I can go to for different things, different kinds of people,
That's right.
men, women, some my age, some younger, some older, some black, some white, some other, just all kinds of people because we all have different perspectives. And so I think it's good to hear different perspectives from people.
I am in a total 100% in agreement with you because one of the things that we talk about from Levelist, and one of the things that we do is we help individuals identify what is that purpose? What's your purpose?
Mhm.
What is that thing that you love? And in loving it, you're right. You need that squad. You need supporters, you need mentors, you need sponsors, you need all
Yes.
of these individuals at different levels of your life. And you can have more than one mentor and more than one
Yes.
coach because it
Mhm.
depends on financial coach, a business coach, so you got
Mhm.
different things in life. And sometimes people get stuck and they feel
Yeah.
like they have to rely only on that one coach. But that one coach, not saying that they're not diverse, but they might not have all the level of knowledge that you need. So you can
Yeah.
seek other to be a part of your squad. I love that. So, ladies and gentlemen, did you get that nugget? Did you write that nugget down? Remember, we don't drop golden nuggets. We drop platinum nuggets here on Levelist.
I love it. And one other thing, Maxine, some of my board of directors don't even know they're on my board of directors. These are
Hey,
people who have podcasts that I listen to, or they have websites that I enjoy, they have books that I've read. And so I'm always learning and picking up things from different places. So some of these people don't even know the influence they're having.
and that's okay because what
Mhm.
you just talked about that you are observing them from a distance, and you never know when you're going to be in their presence. You
Yeah.
never know when you're going to meet them face to face, or even in a
Hmm.
podcast, or you just never know that they might invite you or you might invite them.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Listen, that was another nugget. Ding, 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 ding. Did you get that nugget? I have to remind people to write those nuggets down in case they miss them,
Yeah.
Yolanda. All right. So, you talked about, a book. You talked about some things. So I know you're known for the TV lady. So what brought you to that title?
I've worked in television for a long time. They say you stop counting at 20.
Okay.
And so throughout my career, I've always had people say, "Aren't you the TV lady?" For
Ah,
whatever reason, they don't remember my name, but they say, "Aren't you the TV lady?" And so I've heard this for years, year after year after year. And at first I was annoyed by it. I'm like, I have a name, I am a person. But then I thought, okay, I'm just going to embrace it. And so I decided to embrace it and I trademarked it.
look at that. Look at that. So see, all we have to do is listen and pay attention. They give
Yes,
us what we need when we need it.
exactly. So I
Oh,
am officially the TV lady.
come on now. Officially the TV lady and trademark. That's another nugget. Hello.
Mhm.
Pay attention. Listen to what the public is saying or what your clients are saying or what your
Yeah.
family is saying, and then take it and then what? Trademark it. Make it your
Mhm.
own. I
That's
had
right.
to do I had to do the same thing with level less. A
Mm.
lot of people say, "Are you leveling down?" No. I'm like, you remove the level so you don't even have to worry about climbing a ladder. You just
Yeah.
continue to succeed because you define what success is for you, not what it is for someone else, but what it is for you. So I love it, the TV lady. But see, you've
That's
taken it.
me.
I know, but you've taken this even further. You're not just known as a TV lady. So talk to me about the book. And I want you to talk to me about the workshop that you created around this TV lady.
During the pandemic, well, I guess we're still in a pandemic. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
kind of, sort of. Huh?
at the beginning of the pandemic, let's go back to 2020, we were all home and we're all using our computers to communicate. The news media is interviewing people using Zoom, Teams, Skype, all those platforms.
Right.
Lots of people are making videos. They're making Facebook Lives. They're making YouTube videos. So video is king. Video is queen. And I'm sitting at home and I'm watching all this and I'm getting frustrated, Maxine. I'm saying to myself, why didn't she put some light on her face? Why is she sitting there looking like she's in a hostage video? Or why did he wear that? Why do we see his crotch? I'm just asking all these questions. Why, why? And my husband says to me, they don't know, Valanda. What are you going to do about it?
Right.
And I
Help
thought,
us.
oh, I mean, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. He was like, you work in TV. Tell them what they need to know. And so that's where the book came from. The book came from me talking to my TV screen out loud and talking to my computer screen saying, why? And what I realized is that so many people don't know what I have the benefit of knowing because I've worked in TV my entire career. And that there are so many rules of engagement when it comes to this type of communication over video. And so I
Right.
wrote the book, Tips from the TV Lady, to share what I know. So it's tips on what to wear, how to present yourself, knowing that even just a little bit of makeup is going to help you out, knowing how to get proper lighting on your face, knowing how to set up your background so you don't look like you're in a hostage video. It's all
Right.
those things that frustrated me about watching TV and watching videos at the beginning of the pandemic packaged into a book. And then I went a step further. So I wrote the book in 2020, or was it 2021? I started writing in 2020. And then last year in 2022, I put all that into a course, an online course. So it's the book and then some. It goes much further than the book. And it's an online course that anybody anywhere in the world can get for themselves, take it at their own pace. I'm giving you tips, I'm there guiding you. And at the end, you deliver a presentation to me and I give you constructive feedback.
Oh my gracious. I mean, that's phenomenal because not
Thank
only is
you.
it self-taught, but they're going to actually have that one-on-one encounter with you so that you can give them feedback.
Yes, because I don't want anyone to walk away with this feeling, oh, what did I do all that for? I don't feel like I can do it. No, I'm there to guide you.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say I love it is because in my practice, when I'm talking about learning styles, so I'm hearing you talk about they get a chance to read it. For those who are readers, right? They learn
Hmm.
that way. They get a chance to interact with the material. Then they
Yes.
get a chance to, I'm a kinesthetic learner and I'm a visual learner. So see, I not only have to see it, but I have to
Mhm.
engage with it. So me
Yes.
being able to meet with you gives me an opportunity to say, now, did I understand the book to say I need to do this, this, and this? And then it
Hmm.
locks it into my brain. Now, a
Hmm.
lot of times when you have courses, it does not always cater to all the learning styles.
Yeah.
And so
Well, this
you have,
course does. It is
yeah,
videos. It's me. I'm teaching the course. I bring in some friends to help me in areas where I am not an expert. I know some things about style and fashion, but I am not a stylist. So I
right,
bring in a stylist who offers some expert opinion. I bring in a makeup artist, a professional who's done all kinds of famous faces to talk about some basic things you can do, because you've always got those people who say, "Well, I don't wear makeup." Well, I'm here to tell you, you need just a little bit if you want to look
I
your
had to
best.
put some on cheeks. I had to put on some on my cheeks. I'm the one to tell you
Yes,
that in the
and you look
beginning.
amazing. You look amazing. That pink really pops on you.
Thank you.
But I share those types of things about color, why you want to wear some color, why you don't want to just throw on your black dress. I mean, black dresses are great. We all have them, we love them, but you want to pop when you're communicating this way, because we have so many things going on in our lives, so many things we could be doing besides watching a video, right? Or watching
Right,
a live. You
right.
want to be visually stimulating. And when you wear color, that's what you do.
Oh,
And
wow.
so the course is full of videos, worksheets, quizzes, all kinds of rich content. And the whole idea is to help people present better. Because if you're presenting, you've got something to say. You're not presenting because you're bored. You're presenting because you have something to say and you want people to absorb it. You want them to learn something. You want them to buy something. There's some reason why you're doing it. And if
Correct.
people are turned off, you're not achieving what it is you set out to do.
Right. Well, we have your website on
Hmm.
the banner. It's
Thank
scrolling.
you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please take note of the website. And if you notice, it says once you get to the website, click on coaching. And that's where you'll be able to find, is that correct? That's where you'll be able to find the workshop?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, scroll all the way down and you'll see click here. And that is where you can get the online course. I also do small groups in person and on Zoom. And so all that information is on the website.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. I look good in my pink. I look good in
Yes,
my pink.
you do. And the cobalt blue. Cobalt blue is one of my brand colors. So I love that.
Oh, yes, I saw you in that dress. I love that. Yeah, I think that's the one that I advertised with you in. Yeah.
Hmm.
But is there a particular strategy that you can just share with us that's, without giving all the secrets away that's in the book, but we want to leave them with something so they can go back and start doing immediately. I'm a transformational speaker. I always like to leave them with homework. They come to view my show and they leave with homework. They're like, I don't understand this lady. She's always giving us homework. But I'm about, remember, results. I'm about
Yeah.
implementation. So let's implement
Hmm.
what we learn. Learning hasn't taken place until we can do it.
That's
And
right.
so give us a strategy that we can do immediately and take home and just start doing it. I mean, we're at home, but do it like right now.
If you are presenting, whether that's in person, online, like this, look your best. Take some time and think about the clothing you're putting on your body. Do you feel good in it? Do you feel like $1,000,000 when you put it on? Or are you just throwing on the blazer you always wear,
Mhm.
because it's easy? Think about how you can take that up a notch. Think about adding some color. If you're one of those people who always wears black or gray or tan, Maybe try adding some color. If you're one of those people who says, I don't wear makeup, try it. Try one thing. Maybe it's lipstick. Maybe it's lashes. Maybe it's blush, but pick one and see how you feel when you do it and see how
Yes.
you look versus the last time you presented. Because as I mentioned, you want to be visually stimulating, give the people something nice to look at. And so I would encourage you to step up the visual because there are so many things to think about. But the first thing people notice before they pay attention to what you have to say, they're going to judge you based on how you look. And then they'll listen.
Like
Because
it.
while our parents may have told us, don't judge a book by its cover, that's exactly what we do.
They do.
That's
They do.
exactly what we do. And I say we because I do it too. And I don't feel bad about it. And you shouldn't feel bad about it. Why? Because it's natural. It's natural. If you don't know the person, you don't have anything else to judge until you get to talk with them.
Right.
But before they open their mouths and begin speaking, now, once they open their mouths, you may say, oh, okay, I really like you. Or, ooh, I don't like you. But before that happens, all you have is what you see. And so you want to take some time to make sure you look your best.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You know, and you always hear the first impression is the lasting impression, and you never get a chance to make another
Yes.
first impression. And that's what
Yes.
you're talking about is be your best, look your best at all times. My children used to tease me. They said, Mom, why are you so dressed up all the time? You know, we're going to the museum and you're dressed up with, you know, the jacket, the pants, the heels, the whole 9 yards. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I never know who I'm going to come in contact with. I never know who I'm going to meet. So if anyone ever
Right.
wants to interview me on the spot, I am ready. I am
That's
ready to go.
right. I
You know,
love that. I love that. And I don't do it all the time. You're going to catch me in a baseball cap from time to time. You're going to catch me without, all the things from time to time. But when I know I need to show up and show out, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take some time and put some effort into looking as good as I can, even on bad hair days. Today is a bad hair day. I'm not happy with this, but it is
it
what it is.
looks good
And
to me.
well,
Hey, it's cute. It's cute.
thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
But because I didn't love my hair today, it's like I need to make sure I wear a bold color. I need to make sure I have a bold lip. I need to make sure I have some things I do like. I love my hoops.
Yeah. And you know what? You know what, Valanda? No one would ever have known it was a bad hair day had you not told us.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Because it's what we but we're looking at and we're like, and I'm just thinking like, oh, I like that little, that little copper tone in her hair, and you think just when we think it's a bad hair day, we get so many compliments. I
yeah.
don't know if it happens to you. I know it used to happen to me. Like, oh, I don't like myself today, but everybody, you look so cute today. I'm like, oh, I do. I'm like, well, okay, well, good. Let's perk this up and keep it moving.
It
And so
happens,
we have to listen. That goes back to that listening, right?
Mhm. We
Yeah, it
have
goes
to
back
listen. So thank you for that very kind compliment. But whenever that happens, I had an appointment with you. So I wasn't going to cancel this interview because my hair didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to. But what I was going to do was make sure that I took care of all the other things, that my
I
color
love it.
popped, that I wore my favorite earrings, that I wore my favorite lipstick, that I did the other things that I could do to make the best of the situation.
So you know what? This is another platinum nugget opportunity. Because not only did you give us things that we can implement immediately, like make that one small change. We're not asking you for to change your whole appearance. It's just that
Mhm.
one small change. Because sometimes people can be overwhelmed when they have to do too many things. They're not
Yeah.
open to change. And it took me up until I was 25 to start wearing lipstick.
Mm.
I never wore any makeup. And then finally I started wearing lipstick and then I put a little makeup on, to
Yeah.
do, but so it's beautiful that you're talking about this. So when you were about, I know you say you started out at 5 wanting to be, watching a TV show and everything. So when you're about 14, what would you tell your 14 to 19-year-old self now
Mhm.
that you about when you were at that age then? What would you tell them based on everything that you know now? What would you do? Not necessarily differently. That's not what I'm looking for, but what would you tell yourself?
That it's going to be okay. I worried about everything. Everything that, I mean, I did not have I wasn't body positive when I was 14. I was so critical of myself. I was so skinny that nothing fit. I mean, nothing fit. My mom had to take in everything. And so I didn't like my body. I was a cheerleader. And so we wore skirts. My skirts were always too big. They always came down to my knees, and everybody else's came midway their thighs. I mean, everything had to be tailored. And so I had a lot of issues with my body. Thought my knees looked too big. I mean, I didn't have any pow pow. Other girls look like this.
Mm-hmm,
I look
mm-hmm.
like this. And so I would tell myself, it's going to be okay. Don't worry about that. We all grow and change and develop at different levels, different spaces. It all happens differently for everybody. And the girl that I'm looking at thinking, wow, she looks amazing, she's probably got some self-confidence issues too. One of the things I'm really thankful about with social media is that we share these types of things now. So many people talk about it publicly.
Right.
And so that helps. I think it helps you to go, you know what?
Yeah,
I'm not the only one who feels that way.
that's right.
And so I
That's
would
right.
tell 14-year-old me, stop worrying about everything.
Be
That's just one of
you.
the things I worried about. But since we're talking about appearance, that's the
Yeah.
one I'll share.
It brings to my mind, be you, do you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I used to tell my children all the time. Don't worry about trying to emulate anyone else. Be you, do you, do what comes natural
Mm-hmm.
for you. And you don't
Yeah,
have to worry about pretending to be someone that you're not, because
that's
it's just too
wonderful
much,
advice.
it just takes too much effort to do that. So I know we have a little treat as we get ready to close, we have a little treat for our viewing audience. We have a little gift for them. Would you like to share what that gift is?
Oh, I'm sharing the gift. What did I promise, Maxine?
Um,
It's been a long week and it's only Monday.
That's okay. We have a discount.
Oh, yes, yes. Thank you for that reminder. Yes. If you get my course, I'm sharing with your viewers, Maxine, 30% off. And so the code is 30 off. So 30 OFF, 30 off. Just for
And,
you.
and it would be nice if there's somewhere that they could put in a comment or something like that. Heard you on the Maxine Pearl Phillips left a life strategy show. I'm trying to sing and talk at the same time.
Well, I'll
Yeah,
know
you
because
can
I
go
haven't
ahead.
given that to anybody else.
Good,
So
good, good,
I'll
good,
know
good.
that they came through you, and I'll be sure to reach out and let you know, Maxine. So 30
Yes,
off. And this is going to be a limited time offer. How long should we make it for, Maxine? What do you think is fair?
48 hours at the max.
48 hours? Okay.
Yeah,
I'll cut
at
it
the
off
max.
after that.
Yeah,
Okay.
at the max, because that means they can come back and watch the video and get it. So you can tell your friends to watch the video so that they can get the percentage off. Don't tell them what the code is. Just tell them watch the video.
Yes, we want to support your stream.
Right, that's right. We call it like, getting the algorithms up. We got to get the
Yes,
show
yes.
ratings up. It's nothing like, listen, it happens on TV, it happens on radio, it happens on pods, the digital
Mm-hmm.
stations as well. Give them to 7 p.m. on Wednesday, March the 29th is what we're giving you. You have until
Okay.
7 p.m. on Wednesday, March the 29th to take advantage of this 30% off. You have the website that's going across the screen right now. Make a note of the website, and we'll put the website out there on Facebook as well so that you will have it. Well, Valanda, thank you so much for being my special guest. This has really been a treat. We're going to have to continue to stay in touch.
Yes,
I know
absolutely.
you're going to have another book or an extension to the book, and we're going to have to we can bring you back before you even do a book now. We don't have to wait on another book for you to come back. Okay. Open
Thank you
invitation.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the invitation and giving me some time with your audience.
All right, we're going to say any closing remarks.
Look your best.
All right. Until next time, Valanda, we'll see you. Thank you
Okay,
so
good.
much.
You're so welcome.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard it from the TV lady. I mean, she dropped some platinum nuggets. So we're going to take a moment. We're going to take an infomercial break, and I'll be right back with my next guest, Nancy Appleman Fassel. I am Maxine Phillips, Chief Learning Officer of Level Less, a learning based coaching company that partners with parents to empower teens to create a strategy for succeeding in life. Are you overwhelmed or feel stuck when your teen is undecided about selecting a career path? Our college and career program provides assessments, individualized coaching, and workshops to help teens identify their unique purpose and select a profession that complements their strengths. Call us. Well, I sure hope you wrote those platinum nuggets that Valanda Calloway, the TV lady, gave us. I'm going to be asking for them. You just never know. So make sure that you let me know where you're chiming in from so that we can call your name out. So, what we're going to do now, we're going to transition to our next guest, Nancy. Oh, my gracious. What do I say about Nancy? I have been knowing Nancy for over 20 some years. You know, one of the things about Maxine is that I believe in building relationships. I have this workshop called Make Every Connection Count. So I have tonight with us Nancy Appleman Vassal, and she is the connecting expert. So she's going to talk to us. How do you connect? How do you show up on stage? How do you show up in your job? How do you show up in every day? We just heard from Valanda on how to present ourselves. How do we look at all times? Now, Nancy's going to talk to us about how to connect. So Nancy, she's a certified speaking professional. I mean, she has her own business. She focuses on coaching and developing managers and building high performing teams. And that's where I met her at an organization where she came in as a trainer to deliver some training to our managers. So let's bring on Nancy, who is the CEO of APLS Groups, a firm that specializes in facilitating individuals, groups, organizations toward better solutions for increased effectiveness. Come on down, Nancy.
Hello, hello, Maxine. It's so wonderful to be here with you. It's so wonderful. And I actually took down platinum nuggets from your previous guest as well.
Excellent, excellent. So listen, you know, I always start about what do you remember about us meeting for the first time? Give me a little bit background and even talk about the strategies that you helped me put in place then.
So what I remember is that I had met a colleague and a soulmate, and that I felt so comfortable watching you in front of the room and joining me up in front of the room. And that as a team, we really were helping those folks in your organization navigate through what was happening in the organization at that time. And then I remember you inviting me to go somewhere for lunch. And we drove in your car and we went for lunch and we just talked and talked and talked and talked. And I said, this is more than a one and done. This is a relationship that I'm looking to nurture and continue. And we've done that through the years, even though our paths have somewhat deviated, but we're both CEOs of organizations and doing things that are in the thing that I think we both love, which is about helping people be the best that they can be, understand how their behavior influences their ability to be effective.
You are so right. And
Yeah.
transition right into their abilities to be effective. So tell us
Yes.
a little bit about how you got started in the speaking. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, she's on the national and international stages. We're not just talking about local here in Raleigh. So tell us,
Mhm.
how did you transition into that phase of life? What strategies did you use there?
Right. So I know that your previous guest, Valanda, talked about having mentors and coaches, and very similar in this. I was very involved in the ATD, Association for Talent Development. I was on some national committees as a coach. And one of my colleagues and I, Christy Ward, became very good friends. And she used to whisper in my ear, "You really need to go for your CSP." I was like, "What is a CSP?" Certified speaking professional. There's only about 11% of the population of speakers that have that. You have so much experience. And so I learned about this place called NSA, National Speakers Association, and got involved and went to the local meetings and went to the national meetings, and then just started networking, because as you talked about, this whole notion of connection, right? It's about the human connection. And I've had the opportunity to go to lots of different places around the world, which has been really, really exciting, and getting people to have that aha. You call it the platinum nuggets. I call it the knowledge nuggets that they can then apply to their everyday existence and be able to apply it immediately, which is real important. Real
I love the fact that you say apply immediately, because as I
important.
indicated the last time,
Yes.
right, learning has not taken place until you can apply it. You can put it in place. You can
Hmm.
apply it to what it means to you. The
Hmm.
implementation is what's critical. So, talk to me a little bit about this human connecting.
Yes. So I've been doing a lot of thinking about it for probably about 10 years. That, I'm all about connecting with humans. It's really, no matter what my place is in life, what my title is, how a big family or a small family or whatever, that what really gets us to the next level, or to allows us to move forward, is that feeling of being connected and loved and belonging and inclusive. And that, that's all that's going on. And so for me, I was always interested in people. I was always interested. My mother and I was 4 years old, and we would sit in a restaurant and we would look around the table. This was before cell phones were around and people weren't, in those days, were actually talking to each other. And my mother would say, "Well, what thing's going on over there?" And we would start to talk about the behavior of the person, what their body language was doing. And fast forward, in high school, psychology was the thing I wanted to do. I worked in the guidance counselor's office. I went for my master's in counseling. I use counseling and coaching on a day-to-day basis because I'm looking at human behavior. And
Mhm.
I always knew that the person that I would end up with in life as my partner would be somebody who would have that same connection, that same feeling about people. And
Mhm.
I was fortunate to meet, my spouse, who we're almost on 43 years now, which is hard to believe. Yeah. It's a work in progress, Maxine. So
They all are. No matter how
absolutely.
many years, right? All right.
That's
We got
right. That's
Paulette
right.
Austin chiming in. Well, hello, Paulette. Thank you for joining us this evening. Be sure to
Mhm.
drop any questions that you have in the
Yep.
comment, and then that way we'll
Yep.
be able to see them. So,
Yep.
all right. So, look like our producer was talking about his mom was the first
Hmm.
job, the guidance counselor. So he has
Counselor.
some.
Yep.
Right. Okay, that's
Yes.
awesome, Mark.
Hmm. Yep.
That's our producer, Mark, our producer. So
Yes.
Nancy, with having been on this national and international platform, and you come to
Hmm.
contact with all these leaders, what are some of the strategies that you give leaders when you're talking about making that human connection? Because they have so many employees that report to them, or if they're a CEO or the president, you got the downline. So talk to me a little bit about that aspect
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll say again that we're all human beings first, right? So it's
Right.
like so the work is going to get done regardless. It's what's the experience that people are having, and that's what I talk to leaders about. You have a problem, and I know that you're grappling with that problem and you're looking to solve that problem as quickly as you can, but you
Right.
really have to pay attention to the people that you touch, that you influence, and how you behave has a huge impact in terms of how they're going to go about completing the work, or whether they're going to stay with you or not, whether they're already surfing for another job or they're surfing for a different department because they find you difficult to work with. So we
Right.
work a lot with what's the behavior? What are you doing? And what's the feedback that you get and how you can turn that around in a pretty easy way. And, universally, doesn't matter where you are in the world, doesn't matter what
Right.
language you speak.
Right.
It really is about how do we make that connection, and
Mhm.
how do we touch in a way that makes sense and that I feel that in some way.
Yeah, I like the fact that you say that make that connection because even in the workshop that I do is make every connection count. And one of the
Yes.
things is like what's is not what's in it for me is how can I help you? You have
Right.
to reverse it.
Right.
You have to have that reverse
Mhm.
mindset. And even
Mhm.
with leaders, many times there could be blind spots that leaders have that they might not even be aware of. So one of the
Yes.
assessments that I do is assess leaders, and I know you do assessments too. And in that assessment, it helps them to understand what's your everyday ability and strength
Yeah.
that you use that's going to
Yes.
influence your team. And if you don't
Mhm.
understand who you are from your core, you're missing some vital information because you do not know how it's impacting your team.
Yes. Yes. And
Yes.
the other thing I think of, because I do Pilates, is if your core isn't strong, you
Mm-hmm.
can't really move, right? You can't move at all. And I think that assessments are such a valuable tool because it resonates with people. Unless they're completely in denial and they say, well, this isn't me. This must, I just wasn't answering the questions in the right way, which is not. Of course, we are who we are. And it's
Right.
fascinating to me because that's something you and I have um, talked about through the years, is that whole notion of assessing people during various times in their life and what's going on in their life. And yes, there can be some schmirgling of that, so to speak, but that really we are who we are, even at the early age of 4 or 5. We really start to demonstrate that behavior. And so then how does that play out when I'm in middle school? How does that play out when I'm in high school?
Right.
How do I, and it's the work that you do, I think, is so beautiful because it really is helping kids before they're adults to figure it out, right? Because how many adults, when they're in their 40s and 50s, are trying to figure out, what's my life about? What's my purpose? What's my passion
Yes.
as
Yes.
well? Um, I loved what Valanda said in your earlier piece, where she says, you're never alone. There's some kind of introduction, and how
Right.
fortunate it is when people are introduced to you and you're able to
Oh, thank
share
you.
that wisdom and that energy, because that's what people need. They need that positive thinking, that positive forward thinking, which is so important, which is, I think, something you and I share, because
Yes.
what differentiates me as a speaker, as differentiates me as a facilitator or a trainer, is that I love what I do.
I
I
love it
don't feel
too.
like I work a day in my right. And you and I talked about this. I don't feel like I work a day in my life, although my throat is sounding like I've been talking too much today. But
You've been speaking and doing workshops right before coming here today.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. It's all good.
the
It's
thing
all
about
good.
what you're saying as far as assessing and individuals going through it, and they said, "Well, I answered the question, but am I?" And sometimes it depends if it's a Q&A question assessment.
Yes.
They try to figure out what does the assessment want me to say, so they're not really being true to who they are. And when you get the
Exactly.
results, you're not really getting the results of who you are. You're getting the results of who
Mhm.
you pretended to be when you took the
Yes.
assessment.
Yes.
So one thing
Yes.
about the ability assessment that I love the fact the one that I deliver is the fact that they can't guess what the system wants you to say because it's all
That's
computerized
right.
and it's all hands on, it's all interaction, it's using your mind, it's
Yeah.
being using
Yeah.
imagination and all of that.
Yeah.
And but I love also the fact that you said it's different phases in life and different stages in
Yes.
life.
Yeah.
Because as a youth,
Yes.
you have certain things, you daredevil. You a daredevil.
Mhm.
You
That's
try
right.
anything
That's
because
right.
you don't
That's
even know
right.
you're gonna get hurt. But then you get to 14 and 15, and then it's like you feel like you're coming into your own and you know it all, and
Mhm.
your parents know
Yeah.
nothing. And then
That's
you get
right.
that
That's right.
20 and 30s, it's like, oh, wait a minute, I need to start making some decisions. Then you get to 40s and 50s, like, wait a minute, it's time for me to start retiring, and I have no money to retire. And then you get to 60s, and now you really need to retire, or going into the
Yeah.
70s to retire. And like, how am I going to live if I retire? But then they
There you
forget
go.
what decisions did you make? What goals did you make? What strategies did you
Right.
put in place?
That's right.
And so
That's
I
right.
love the fact that we help people put in strategies in place as early as possible in life so
Yes.
they can be
Yes.
successful. They can
Yes.
move through these, navigate. I love you the word navigate life, navigate the journey of life and be successful along the way.
Yeah.
And you don't
Yeah.
have to be alone. You have Nancy and I
Yep.
out here.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. And the other thing that I think about is that, as adults in the workplace, that, we really are a product of our experiences. And so
Yes.
if we haven't had a good boss previously, or if we left a company or we were laid off from a company and we feel like our world is over because, what did I do? And of course, it's nothing about what you do. It's about the fact that the company makes the decision that they make. But then you walk into this new environment and you're trying to feel your way around and you're not 100% sure, or you feel like you're supposed to be a certain way because that's what your manager's doing. And maybe your manager's not doing it the best way possible. So it's how do you become your own person, which is
Yeah.
the keynote that and the workshop. It's a 1 hour workshop that I've been doing through different organizations. It's called You're on the Workplace Stage. What's your song and dance? Because Maxine, I love to sing. I love to dance whenever possible. That's in
You know,
fact,
I love it,
my,
kids.
I
Yeah.
know, I know. And my 3-year-old grandson is into music now. So we just we stand in the kitchen and we start dancing together. I tried to teach him the electric slide last night. My son was laughing. He said, "Ma, really? You're going to try to teach him that?" And I'm like, give me some time. Give me some
Give
time.
him the rhythm. Give him the rhythm, if
Right,
nothing
give 'em the
else.
rhythm,
Give him
right, exactly. That's right, the beat. And
the beat.
so when I think about from a organizational perspective, it's like, how are you showing up? What's the song? What's the dance you're doing?
That's
Are
right.
you doing the old dances like the jerk or the swim or are you doing the cha-cha slide? I mean, what are you doing? And then and then with the song, is it a brand new day and you're going to make it the best day possible? Or are you all about people? Like what is it? And so we do some stuff with that. But then it's also how do you show up? It's
How
really
do you
how do you show up? What's the kind of house that you're building? Your brand. I loved what Valanda said about, color and impression. And I love color, obviously.
Mhm.
I'm multicolored today. And but I believe in that vibrancy and I believe in that, how are you showing up? But it's also what's your behavior? What are those actions? What are those things that you do that either help or hinder your ability to influence? How strong is your foundation? Is your flooring? Unfortunately, we've had this horrible thing happen over the weekend with the tornadoes, and then we
Right.
had a shooting today in Tennessee, but that's a whole nother story. But it's like,
Right.
what's the house you're building? What's the brand you're building? What about the
Yeah.
walls? The windows, will they withstand the weather? And the weather is you being in a great mood or not being in a great mood or being, high on life in a very natural way, or are you down in the dumps because so many things have happened, you can't seem to get yourself out? So what's the house you're building? Because your house is your reputation. Your house is your safe place. Your house is your I call it the crib, the slang for my home. Come on into my home. If I like you, that's where I'm going to put you. So I just, we get a lot of people getting ahas because they realize that, oh yeah, I have been acting this way, or I have been saying this. And as a result of that, I'm not as effective as I need to be.
When you bring out those points that you just brought out about right how effective you can be and what have you done? COVID forced
Yes.
us,
Yes.
whether we wanted to or not, but it forced us to reevaluate our lives. It
Yes.
forced us to
Yes.
reevaluate on the work environment in which we want to work in. It forced
Yes.
us to say, do we still want to be in that leadership role or do we want to be an
Mhm.
individual contributor? So it
Mhm.
caused us to reevaluate the effectiveness of our own lives. And how do we
Yes.
take that
Yes.
into our own hands? Because
Mhm.
one of another workshop that I do is called Be the CEO of You.
Mm. Mm.
Because
Mhm.
we allow CEOs of organizations, but we
Mhm.
are a business and we
Mhm.
are the president
Absolutely.
of us. And so
Yes.
levelness is a part of all of that to help people. If you remove the levels, but you define what success looks like for you, not what it looks
Yep.
like for someone else, then you
Yep.
can build a strategy around that you see for yourself. And if you start executing and implementing and you reach those goals and achieve them, then you are successful. So you have to have
Absolutely.
that mindset shift,
Yes.
and that mindset shift can stay with you, and you stop letting other people dictate to you who you are, what you're going to be, what you're going to do, how much you're going to make, and all of that.
Absolutely.
But you take
Absolutely.
control. And that's where that
Yeah.
CEO comes in at. So I
Yeah.
love the fact that when you teach and you do workshops, that you're talking about from a leader perspective. But ladies and gentlemen, get this nugget. You do not have to have a title of a leader to be a leader.
There you go. There you go. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes. Yeah. And Rome wasn't built in a day.
Thank
And
you.
so figuring it out, it's a step-by-step process. I like to use the analogy of American football because, my son's a football coach and so forth. So, but I think about like every coach wants to win the game to get to win enough games to get to the, playoffs, to get to the coveted, of the Super Bowl.
Right.
But you have to get that first 10 yards. And you have to get the next 10 yards and the next 10 yards in order to get that touchdown or that field goal. And so we as human beings, we have this tendency not to celebrate those those steps along the way. We feel like we just have to go completely to the end, and that we don't reward ourselves. We don't say, you know, here's why it was a good job. Here's why you did well. Not just good job, because that's what, like, unfortunately is done a lot in the workplace,
Right.
and we don't give people information at all. And I think that, as I have watched people and continue to watch people, we work with, I don't even know how many people we've worked with. I've been in business for 22 and a half years, but I would say that we run probably 130 to 140 workshops a year. And, with probably anywhere from 10 to 25 people in each one. So we can do the math at some point in time.
Right.
But there's a commonality. There's a commonality across all of it, which is we're human beings.
That's
And
right.
you mentioned earlier about, that awareness factor, those blind spots, right? Well, the
Right.
tagline for Nancy Appleman Fassel.com for the speaking part of the business is building awareness by uncovering blind spots.
That's it.
Because people, right? People walk around for the most part unaware of their behavior and the impact that it has on people.
That's right.
Somebody
That's right.
takes the time to say, right?
That's right. And those
Yep.
blind spots are so critical. The Jehovah's window, we already know about that because
Yes.
it helps to bring out those blind spots. But
Yes.
also, assessments helps you to bring out blind spots as well. Because that's why
Absolutely.
you have to reveal them. They have to, be brought to the surface so that you can now face
Hmm.
them and not hide
Yep.
behind them. And so
Yep.
that's another way of understanding what your blind spots are. And then we're individuals. Sometimes we have to just listen to each other, and don't be afraid to share. Use what they say, constructive criticism. It does not have to be destructive. It can be
Right.
constructive, and give them the positives, but also give them some areas in which, if we are challenged, and let us know what those areas are.
Yeah.
Don't say yes
Yeah.
to everything. We don't need a yes
Hmm.
person when there are things that we need to be changing about ourselves. And I'm gonna tell this
Yes.
one question, this story really, really quickly. I was promoted to a newly fresh manager at a telecommunications company in Ohio, in Illinois. And this one manager would be observing me, and I didn't know she was observing me. So one day she said, "Can I talk to you in my office?" I said, "Yeah." So she brought me in there. She said, "Maxine," she said, "you're excellent manager, and you're going to be even phenomenal." She said, "But there's one thing about you." I said, "What?" She said, "You have to stop and think before you say what you're going to say, because there's always a different way and a different approach. But if you don't ever stop to
Mhm.
think about how is this going to make that person feel, then
Perfect.
you know if you should proceed to say it or not." That was the
Yeah.
best advice she could have given
Yeah.
me, because
Hmm.
it forced
Hmm.
me to stop. Even now, I'll
Hmm.
do it. Am I going to say it
Mm-hmm.
that way? Do I write it that way? Let me take 2 hours. Let me come back and visit it again before I send that email,
That's
or
right.
before I have a conversation to make that telephone call. And that's just
Mm-hmm.
human nature. We need to do it, but even more so
Yeah.
as a leader,
Yeah.
even
And
more
and
so.
what's yeah, and what's profound about that is that happened early on in your career, and it was you still got it. And I had one early on in my professional career as well, where my manager said to me, "You're not being congruent." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Your head is saying yes, but your body language is saying no." She said,
Ooh.
"So congruency." And I have always, that's I got 40 years ago or so. And I'm thinking to
Mhm.
myself, I still remember it. And I use it as well with other people where I see that happening because
That's good.
I want to give that gift back to
That's
somebody
good.
else who, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I love
So,
that, give that give back, pay it forward. And that's what we
hmm
all need to be. We don't need to be alone. There's no reason to be
yes,
alone out here in this world. You have other people who are willing to support you, to mentor you, to coach you,
yep,
but they
yep.
don't know it if you don't ask for help. They
Right,
won't know it
right.
unless you ask for help.
And that is a platinum nugget as well, because asking for help, as you know, is a it's strength, but yet
Yeah,
it's conveyed as its weakness, and it's not. If I
that's
know
right.
what my strengths are and I know what is not my strength, then I'm much better at being able to do things than if I'm not aware of it and I think I can do it and continue to do it and it's really not what I do well.
And as leaders and or even as individuals, we can be doing something incorrectly,
Hmm.
and then we think it's correct
Absolutely.
because we've been
Yeah.
doing it that way for so long, it becomes a habit.
Hmm.
And then when
Hmm.
someone corrects us and realize that it was been done improperly, you're like, no, I'm not. And like, well, yes, you are. The protocol says this, and you've been doing it this way. I've been doing it
That's
this way for
right.
years. We know, but
That's
you've been
right.
doing it wrong for years.
That's
So,
right. That's right.
as leaders, don't allow or don't even say to your employees, or employees don't even say to yourself, I've been doing this way for years. Well, it doesn't mean it's right just because you've been doing it that way for years. Be open enough to listen and to hear what the
Absolutely.
next person has to say, because it could
Absolutely.
be just a minor modification that needs to be done.
Right.
Doesn't mean
Right.
everything was incorrectly about it.
Right.
Well, Nancy, this
Right.
has been truly, truly awesome. So tell me what you got coming up. What's happening? You got a little workshops you're getting ready to announce or have announced. We have your website on the screen.
Yep.
So
Yeah. So I'm speaking at the ATD International Conference on a panel about women as entrepreneurs, kind of what's your
okay.
life journey been. I'm speaking at the International SHRM Conference in Las Vegas, and it's so ironic because the name of the title of it is called "You're the CEO of Your Career." So I think I need to talk to you because we made up that title and well made it up but in a
Right.
positive way and said this is great because having been in career counseling, which is where we first met in terms of just some of the uh, services that DVM, which is now Lee Hecht Harrison,
Right.
support. So, being a counselor, et cetera, so forth. So it's all about, it's standing up. I'm going to use some of the stuff that Valanda talked about and some of the stuff I'm going to be talking to you about. And that's what's going on. So you see two websites on down there. One is aplsgroup.com. That shows all the different products and programs that we offer. I am willing to do a little special, which is that giving folks actually a week to come to the website. And if there is a workshop that they would like us to bring into their organization, we will do a 20% discount off the price. And then the NancyApplemanVassal.com is the speaking website. So if you're interested in bringing me in to do some speaking or you've got an event of some sort, would love to. We've got some topics there that I've been working a lot with, including You're on the Workplace Stage, What's Your Song and Dance?
Excellent, excellent. I can't wait to see you do that in person because I can see us on the stage singing and dancing. I know you're gonna have a
That's
song for
right.
us.
That's exactly,
Real
exactly what's happening. You know exactly what's happening. And I break out into song. I just did a workshop last Thursday and Friday. And in the comments, the person said, I loved how you broke out into song at different moments. Because
Yeah,
somebody would say something, and in my head it was like, oh, that's a lyric to a song. Let's just start to break out and sing it.
and not only that, it's captivating and participating. The people
Yes.
participate in it.
Yes.
So give us
Which
one
you know.
last nugget that you'd like to leave the audience with as we close.
Yes. So I would say, don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to be you.
All
Go
right.
for it. Mm-hmm.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here from the human connecting expert, Ms. Nancy Appleman Vassell. All right. So listen, I know you've enjoyed this evening like I have, but time has it. Paulette Austin don't have. Oh, I didn't get. Don't have a title. Oh, to be a leader. A leader is a leader. You don't necessarily have to have a title. That is
That's
correct,
right.
Paulette. But as
Everyone's
we
a
close,
leader.
everyone is a leader. You can always reach
Mhm.
me at levelisco.com. But next week we have our former football player, Marcus Ogden from the
Nice.
Tennessee Titan, is going to be here speaking with us and talk about some great platinum nuggets. So come back and join us. Same time, same station. And remember, I believe in you and I trust you believe in yourself. Have a great evening.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance.